there's no way that an individual could fit that hole. I had all of the cameras, the news cameras there, and you saw for yourself. So they started off fine. So we respected her decision. She had to do a job. She did it. Now it's time to do our job.
Ain't nobody in the back. It don't matter who the fuck it is. If you hitting on the ground, why the fuck you got shots all in the back?
He's alive. Go look where they killed my son. In my face. It can't work. Just giving them, these police officers, the right to assassinate people. You can't go around assassinate young men. Young men have family. What's on this? This is fucking against the race. I don't want to think that. We have young black men being killed by police officers. And my son was assassinated. Came out there. I will never forget that day.
Describe what you saw.
No. See, that's where we got a problem now, because you keep getting different descriptions from Mr. Kellom as to what occurred. That was one of her big problems, that he made so many different statements. He was traumatized when this thing occurred. He may say something different today as to what he thought he saw on that date and time. So he's not going to say any more versions of what he's already said. So don't ask him that.
That's right.
Kim Worthy basically said,
basically that's what she's saying, but he saw his son gunned down in front of him. 7 to 10 shots was fired. He doesn't know exactly how many times this officer shot, but he knew it was a lot. So to say that these inconsistent statements, that's not good. That's not good at all. So don't ask him again as to what he saw, because it's already on the record.
what do you want to say to prosecutor Worthy to the fact that she says the evidence shows that he was shot upstairs and had the injuries coming out?
Wrong. She didn't do it.
I think, like Mr. Mitchell said, you guys are asking questions that she said. We went over there. We looked at the ceiling. We got video of it. Now, unless there was some magic that happened, there was no hole in the ceiling. They said in defense, the testifiers of us, I heard that line too many times, fighting police brutality, that the officer said they defend themselves and others. How the hell do you defend yourself with 7 to 10 shots?
Well, the problem is she indicated that Officer Quinn shot one time and then paused. You have 3 or 4 of the officers in the same room and you can't disarm an individual with a hammer after he's been shot one time? That doesn't make any sense.
Now, she did show pictures of this hole from the attic into the bedroom.
It wasn't there.
That was a hole in the closet where they ripped out the video equipment. Your 247 came and saw the hole. You got video footage of that. That's where they ripped out the hole where the video camera was at. An individual couldn't fit through there.
What about the notion that there is no actual surveillance video, but the cameras were real time but not actually recording? There is no. We've already indicated that there's no footage of that.
That's correct. But what's comical is that the news media came with their cameras and they actually saw and will be witnesses when a civil case is filed, because you can see that no individual, small baby, couldn't fit through that hole.
There was a lot of talk by Prosecutor Worthy about the inconsistencies, how they were biometrically opposed, like this had happened, this had happened. What was your reaction? I think you were able to actually hear that because you were publicly.
Well, he didn't hear what she said.
I know what happened. I'm looking at it. I have no reason to lie about nothing else.
Well, that's what I don't want him to give any more statements in relationship as to what occurred or what didn't occur.
Right.
We know 2 things: that he didn't come through the roof, that he got shot 7 to 8 different times. We know that as a fact, with a hammer. You know, this individual must have been a real coward to shoot an individual 7 times with all he had was a hammer. Are you saying that after he shot him the first time, this isn't the movies, he still kept coming at him with the hammer to shoot him another 4 or 5 times? Is that what they're saying?
That is what
That's crazy. This is not the movies.
They're also saying he was shot 4 times.
It doesn't matter how many times he was shot. He was shot once, and then they said they paused to see whether or not it took effect. So what are these other officers doing to help disarm this person of a hammer? If he did have a hammer, let's say he had a doggone hammer. All you do is you get one swing if you're going to try to hit somebody with a hammer. All you get is one swing. After the hammer goes down, you're tackled. You're something. You don't have to kill him.
Isn't that easier said though? Since you
no, because I've been attacked with a hammer before.
Okay.
I was playing basketball. A guy came at me with a hammer. I didn't have a gun or a knife or anything. I moved out the way and then popped him in the mouth. And then we wrestled for the hammer. You don't have to kill someone.
And Amy, you're asking about the discrepancies. That's what trials are for. That's what trials are for. You always have inconsistencies, and you try that, and you find out what the facts are. You don't try it in a news conference.
No, we're actually just asking about your reaction to the situation.
Yeah, well, he didn't hear that.
But you did hear, obviously, that there's not going to be charges.
They're real upset. That's upset like my son. It hurts. Hope it didn't go that way, but like my attorney said, she done a job.
We respect her decision. She had to do a job, and that's fine. We got respect for the process.
So what happens now?
A civil lawsuit. That's all that can happen now. Unless the fans are going to get involved, and that's not going to happen.
Well, I want to tell you from a community standpoint, we have an event, a large event planned for 28th of this month, and we intend to push it higher than it's ever been. And I want to tell you right now, people in the community, and any elected official needs to know this. They're stopping me on the street asking about this. First time that's happened in years. So they need to be aware that it's not just the Kelloms, that a lot of people are concerned about this, and this community had better be concerned about it.
What's your reaction to when
was elected? She could be unelected.
What was your reaction to when she mentioned Black Lives Matter and tried to compare it to the other police-involved shootings across the country and said this wasn't one of those cases?
What? She made that decision? She can't make that decision. That's not up to her to make that decision that this was one of these cases. A jury can make that decision, but she can't.
Come on, we've had cases going back to Imam Lukman Amin Abdullah, to Aiyana Jones, to whatever, long before Black Lives Matter ever existed. Death is death. Killing is killing. Negligence is negligence.
That's right.
Mr. Mitchell is going to determine in the courtroom what the situation is. Now you tell me that one life and one situation is different than the other? I mean, who are you? You can't tell him his life and his son's life is different than somebody in Ferguson? Give me a break.
Does Terrance have a son?
2.
He has a son and a daughter. He has a 2-year-old and he has a 2-month-old.
He never got a chance to see his daughter born.
Tell us about your shirt.
Well, it says this is my son, Terrance. This is his son, Terrance Jr. He says whatever my baby says. And on the back it says, hands up. No hammer.
Move your mic down.
So the prosecutor said that the hammer was in his hand as he fell, and that the evidence shows it was there. How do you think that they could come to believe that?
Let me just correct you. You said the evidence shows that. There's no reflection except her assessment that the evidence shows that. You don't have a validation that that's the case. That's why you have civil litigation. That's why you have other matters, because there are questions of fact. That's what she said.
She said everyone in the room saw the hammer.
Well, she said it. She wasn't in the room. Was she there?
You have to understand, when they do investigations like this, they can come up with a decision and then get the evidence to corroborate that decision that they already made. So when they ask questions of the other officers, didn't you see a hammer in his hand, versus whether or not there was a hammer in it. So you can come up with a decision and then corroborate or ask questions to corroborate that decision. So we don't know how these questions were asked. But when we get an opportunity to talk with these officers and depose them and ask them questions, it's a different thing.
So I wonder if you can speak right now, because the prosecutor did accuse you of lying about what happened. What do you want to say to her?
That's her decision. They say opinions is like butthole. Everybody got one. Sometimes they stink. So hey, that's her decision to say that. I know what I know I'm not, and I know what I saw. And it'll be proof.
When are we looking
based on
at
what
the
you
civil lawsuit, Mr. Mitchell?
I can't consider time date on that.
Well, I can say this. In terms of lying, that was a very strong statement to make, especially to grieving parents. It's insensitive. It's not valid. And the question is that if you feel that way, keep it to yourself and call them. But don't do that in the public arena. But I'll say right now, I believe Mr. Clinton and them lying. Because you know why? Because after having done this for over about 30 years, I've heard the same lie over and over and over again. That's the same lie that they said in the Ayala Jones case. And then we found out that they were lying. Found out that they were lying. They didn't see toys in the yard, right? But then ultimately found out that they did. It's just like Mr. Mitchell said, they can ask you so that it sets up that they said that you actually did it. Ms. Worthy was not there. This is to the people who were there. They're the only ones that can say whether it was a lie or truth. Mr. Kellom and the people in that room. The prosecutor only knows what she got.
And she also pointed to the evidence that the
evidence
supported
pointed to the evidence
claims
that,
of the officers.
They pointed to the evidence that they did. There's been no independent investigation. There's been no deposition.
The problem is the evidence. Let's start out with the first piece of evidence. The whole. I don't know if any of you were at the house itself to see the whole. Look at the video footage of the whole. There is no way that a person could fit the evidence. So let's start off with that. So the evidence, go look at it for yourself, and it makes no sense. So let's start off with that. And then when you say I fear for my safety, that's what they all have to say when they shoot somebody. What else are they going to say?
She said there's no evidence that they broke through the front door as Mr. Collins.
No one said they broke through the front door.
Yeah.
They pushed their way through. They pushed his way past it. There's nothing on the record to indicate that they broke the front door.
But you are saying he did not come down through the ceiling. You're saying that?
I'm not saying that. The ceiling is saying that. I'm not saying that. The ceiling is. Because nobody can fit through it. All right?
Can we get your name and everything at the beginning?
Kerry Mitchell.
Can you spell that?
K-A-R-R-I.